Welcome to Chaos to Clarity, where we discuss healing trauma with godly guidelines. I'm your host, John Fontenot. If there's any topic you'd like to discuss, please let me know in the Q&A section. Let's dive into today's topic, another episode on grief. We have all experienced loss on some level in life. It changes your world. Some even say that time heals things in a sense. Well, I don't think that we even truly heal from losing someone we love. We learn to adapt to our new normal. The key is to remember that healing can look like many different things to each one of us. A personal experience of mine was my real dad fought cancer for about 18 months back in 2019 to 2020. We got to spend a lot of time together talking about life and things that we wanted to do or hadn't done. I had asked him if he had any regrets or if there was anything that, that he felt bad about, since, things were looking kind of gloomy, and that if he was okay with possibly dying. He told me his biggest regret was not going on more trips and more outings, like doing the things that they had always said they would do later, or put off because they, may or may not have had extra money at the time. But he said the truth is you can always make more money, but you can't get more time. He said take the trips, go do all the things that you want to do and enjoy those babies. That's how he referred to my kids. So I promised him that I would work on my bucket list in honor of him. For those of you who don't know what a bucket list is, things that you want to do, in life that, may or may not, be like super adventurous, or it's just something that, you had on your heart that you wanted to do. And so far, I've gotten to scratch off about 7 things that were on my list. I actually went on a medical missions trip over the summer, and I ended up being there for my dad's birthday. So that was kind of a bittersweet moment because I know that, he would have enjoyed going on something like that. And there are days that I wish that I could see him and show him photos and talk about all the experiences. But I like to think that he's looking down and smiling, knowing that I'm trying my best to make beautiful memories with my family. God tells us in Psalm 119:28, my soul melts away for sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. That verse to me is that God is my strength, and I'll get to see my dad again someday. And although my life was shaken up a lot by his passing, my experience has helped me help others. Some very close friends of mine, matter of fact, during the loss of their parents. Each one of them has told me thank you numerous times and that they never could have gotten through this without me. I'm reminded that God puts us in each other's life for a reason, and our job as Christians and friends are to be there through good and bad times. My heartbreak and my tragedy is what launched me into helping others navigate during times where they just were going through the motions. They were, not understanding diagnosis, the events that were unfolding, and just trying to put one foot in front of the other and not really being able to make a normal decision. And that's all. It's all normal. It's part of grief. It's part of loss. There's so many layers to dealing with situations like that. And I'm grateful that i I was able to swoop in and help others in the things that that I've experienced in the past, was able to make me compassionate. And God used me in those people's situations to help them get through it, showing up and loving on them when words are not always that good. One of my dad's favorite passages is Ecclesiastes 3 1 through 8. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And it reminds me that God uses us. He uses the most unexpected people, the most unexpected circumstances to shine His light and His love for us. And, that passage rings true for so many different things that we deal with in life, especially through ups and downs. And it just, it's kind of like we love people, we have to let them go. Sometimes things are going to be good, sometimes things are going to be bad. And it's, life is like an ebb and a flow. And we just have to remember to, let others help us, be there for others. And remember, God loves us and He's not going to leave us alone. Don't count yourself out. He can use you and your story to help others. A few more references are Romans 12:15, 1 Peter 5:7. Thank you so much for listening to Chaos to Clarity, helping one another declutter our minds together. If you're loving the podcast, I'd be so honored if you'd go ahead and hit that follow button and leave me a review. Until next time, friends.